Did you know that your church can qualify to get up to $10,000 a month? That's $120,000 a year in free advertising from Google. This is called the Google Grant. In today's show, I'm going to walk you through what that is, how to qualify for it, what you need, how to apply for it, and then how to use it. Because it's not enough just to have it. You got to know how to use it, and you got to know how to use it based on the rules that they set out for you. You do all of what I'm about to share with you today, you're going to get free advertising in Google to be found by more people searching for churches, searching for answers, searching for resources, searching for your ministries so you can be seen by more people, known by more people, bring more people in to hear the gospel and grow the kingdom. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show, where we show you how to 10x your reach with church marketing that will help you increase your impact, make more disciples, and become the cornerstone of your community again. This is for the leaders with an outrageous vision, because anything less would be an inaccurate reflection of our Creator. The ones who have unreasonable faith, because you know God works unreasonable miracles. And the ones who are relentless in the pursuit of your calling, because anything less would not make a good and faithful servant. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, please welcome your host and guide on this journey to become the best known organization in your community, Justin Nava.
Welcome to the Best Known Church Show. I'm Justin Nava. If we have not met before, I take full responsibility for that. I am on a mission to see 1 million churches become the cornerstone of their community. I want to see churches become the best known organization in their community. Not just the best known church, but the best known organization. In the same way that a vegetarian knows the best steakhouse in town, even the most militant atheist should know your church and be able to say, you know what, I hate it. It's not for me. I will never do that. But something's happening at that church. That's what I want for you today, and that's what I want for you, period. And today, we're going to go over one of the best ways for your church to get in front of new people, and not only that, show up in a way that's relatable, relevant, and valuable to people, and that's using the Google Grant. Okay, Google Grant, Google meaning it's from Google and it's on their platform, and Grant meaning that it's free money for your church. Today, we're going to talk about what that is, how to apply for it, how to qualify for it, first of all, and then how to use it. You got to fit all these puzzle pieces together, and then you'll take full utilization of this and reach more people and be known by more people, which is what I want for you. Because when someone needs something, when someone feels that pull of God, when someone's hit rock bottom or getting to it and they're like, I need something, I need church, I need Jesus, I've tried X, Y, Z and none of that's working, they will go to who they know first. And if they don't know anyone, they'll go to who their friends and family know. And if they don't know anyone, they'll go to Google. Now, unless you've put in the legwork to be known first, you're not going to be up here. In fact, many churches are not going to be up here because we just aren't playing the game that every other organization and business are playing. And that's what I'm going to show you how to change real quick. So if you're not already there, they're going to go to their friends and family. Now, their friends and family should know about you, but as we know, the family's kind of been degrading in our culture, and so less and less people are going to friends and family. It's also a little embarrassing, let's be honest. Like, hey, I'm addicted to this and I'm about to hit rock bottom, or hey, I'm sleeping on the couch every day. Who do you know? What's a good church to go to? I mean, it's awkward sometimes. So more today than ever, people are just skipping step 2, which means when someone feels that pull of God, when they want a church, when they need something, and even if it's not church specifically, but maybe they need free school supplies, free lunch, a free clinic, whatever it might be, they're going to go to Google. And this is where your church has the opportunity. In fact, if you follow the definitive church marketing method that I lay out for you both in this show, on my website, and anywhere else I make an appearance, we get you not only listed in Google, but we get you listed in Google in 3 places. Meaning as soon as they go to Google and search churches near me, ministries near me, kids activities near me, what did I say? Free clinic near me, school supplies near me, whatever they search for, your church is not only going to show up on the front page, you're going to show up 3 times on the front page. And how people can't ignore you when you do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do one of those times. One of the times that you can show up is in the ad spot. The second one is in the local spot. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. And the last one is in the organic ranking, which we talked about maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago when we talked about web design and things that Google wants to see. So you can go back to the catalog of the Best Known Church Show and listen to those shows. Today we're going to talk about that top spot. When you go to Google and you search for anything, unless you have an ad blocker on, you're going to see sponsored posts, or sponsored listings, whatever you want to call them, search results, but it's going to say sponsored. Sometimes it'll say ad. It used to say ad, but more often than not, it'll say sponsored. Sponsored means paid for, right? So when you search for something and you see those top listings, there's usually 2 or 3, sometimes 4 if it's local, you'll see sponsored and you'll see those top spots. Now they are paying for those top spots, and those top spots are not cheap. Oftentimes, just to get one person to click, you've got to spend $7 to $15 on a good day to get someone to click on that. Now, if you're running a national campaign, you're talking about way more money. So if there's ever an organization you love, don't click on those top spots. That costs us money when you click on those instead of the listings below, but it won't cost your church anything, because I'm going to show you how to get in that top spot without spending $1 on ad spend. And that's what the Google Grant does. What is the Google Grant, and how can we use it for our church? The Google Grant is part of the Google for Nonprofits program, all right? And this is a suite of tools and resources and software that Google gives 501c3 registered nonprofits to use their software and platform for free without cost to anything. So how that works is I'm going to walk you through this in a little bit later in the show, is you go and you apply for the program, then you apply for the Google Ad Grant. All right. But we already went over how Google advertising works, right? Okay. So I'm jumping all over my notes here. People will search for something and that sponsored spot will show up first. Now the Google Grant essentially is ad spend provided for you from Google to use on those search results that you would normally pay for. Okay. So if I run search advertising, or for my client, that's a gym, they run ads, and we have to pay, right? Like I said, we have to pay between $7, $15, sometimes even more to get someone to click, to get the ad to show up enough times for someone to click. And then we got to pay for that click. Your church doesn't have to do that. Essentially what Google says is, we're going to give you up to $10,000 a month. And when someone clicks, instead of you paying the $7 or $10 for it, we're just going to pay that. Okay. They're not going to cover it. They're going to pay it. They're going to actually track how much it costs to get someone to click. And you're just basically given an allowance of $10,000 a month, up to $10,000 a month. And you, don't have to spend that money to get that click. All right. Now they say up to $10,000 a month. Now this isn't like when we went on a cruise last week. That's why we didn't have a show last week. And they have a thing, right? Book your next cruise and get up to $600 off. And we're like, well, let's go look at that, right? Well, it's as soon as we got there, it was like, all right, how do we get the $600 off? And it's like, well, you only get $600 off if you buy the suite, the $3,000 a night or whatever a suite they have on the cruise. And we're like, well, what if we just book the cheapy room? You get $50 off. That's not exactly how the Google Grant works, right? Like the more you put out there for Google to use, the more they're going to spend that money they're giving to you, okay? So it's up to $10,000, because if you make cheap ads, crappy ads, if you make ads that don't work, or you just don't follow the rules, they're not going to spend money on what's not going to work. You got to follow their system. You got to follow their recommendations, their requirements, and then you can spend that money, and you can add campaigns or put more money into a campaign, and you can spend up to that allowance. Jesse's in the chat here. He is one of the other Google Grant masters here, so he's going to keep me accountable on this. And I'm going to show you what's possible, okay? Because again, we want your church to be found, and I don't want you just in the organic search results or just in the local search results. We do that as part of the definitive church marketing method. I want you in that top spot, and you can get that without spending money like I do or my clients do. You can get that for free with the Google Grant, meaning someone searching for something in the area that you choose. right? This can work nationwide, but for most churches, local churches, it's going to be a local area. All right. You can show up for people searching not only for churches, but for resources. Okay. Remember, church, if we want to be more than a building, if we want to be more than a Sunday service, we've got to communicate that we are more than that. So what if instead of just showing up for churches near me or Baptist Church in Houston, Texas, North Houston, whatever, what if you could show up for divorce counseling? What if you have a free clinic, free healthcare in my city? What if you could show up for, right now we've got back to school drives. Okay. A lot of people are searching for free school supplies, free lunch programs, whatever your church can provide. It's not just Sunday service. It could be something additional. Okay. If you've got resources on marriage, if you got resources on finances, you've got events coming up, you can use the Google Grant to run. As long as people are searching for those terms, you can show up in those search results. Okay. Meaning, when someone's searching for something, if your website is not ranking for that keyword, we'll get into what that means in a bit. If you're not showing up for that, you could just pay to show up for that in that top paid spot. Okay. There's a lot possible when you actually look at the Google Grant and what it can do for your church. Okay. Now I'm going to do what not too many people are doing. Leverage Google Ads to be on mission, Jesse. Absolutely, man. I'm going to do it a lot. I don't see enough people doing. I'm going to walk you through a 30,000 foot view because I can't go into too much detail. It's going to be very unique for every church. But I'm going to walk you through how to apply for the Google Grant. There's a lot of information about the Google Grant. Not a lot of people go over the application process. Okay. So I'm going to go over that with you right now. And the number one thing you have to know if you qualify. All right. There are qualifications and you can go to, google.com/nonprofits because it's a nonprofit program. It's not just for churches, but churches can take advantage of this. I never do that. I just Google for nonprofits. Okay. And it takes you to the same page. All right. Number one, you have to be a 501c3. Okay. If you're not a 501c3, you have to be under the umbrella of one. Okay. Just saying we're a church doesn't automatically get you the grant. Okay. There has to be some kind of documentation. All right. This isn't like the Monday Night Football church that started up and then, we did all this stuff and took advantage of all the religious exemptions and all that. Now, Google wants you to have IRS declaration either for your organization or if you're under a denomination, you can use the denominational letter. For example, my church, we don't use our own documentation. We use the state's Baptist Convention's documentation. That's the umbrella for that we are covered under the nonprofit. But you got to have something from the IRS that says, hey, yeah, you're a 501c3. Also have your employee identification number. You got to know your name, address, and all that stuff. And then I'm going to speak briefly to what we call, and on our team, we call it the agreement, right? We always know what we're talking about, and people will get into fights on this, okay? So I'm going to present this to you in the most neutral way as possible, okay? If you've never applied for the Google Grant, this is the first time you're going to hear this. If you thought about applying it, or maybe you talked to your leadership team about it, you probably got to this point where you had to agree to this term that Google lays out, and this causes a lot of controversy, okay? So I'm going to approach this in a very neutral way because this is something between you and your organization, honestly, between you and your state, and of course, you and God, as with everything else, okay? Another qualification to get approved for the Google Grant program or the Google Nonprofit program is you have to agree to Google's terms of service. And there is one portion of that terms of service that a lot of churches don't feel comfortable agreeing to. Okay. I'm going to read it for you word for word here on the show. So you can hear what this agreement is. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit from a very neutral perspective. Okay. Here's the agreement. Here's what you have to agree to. You have to agree that your organization does not discriminate against any person or group of people in either hiring/unemployment practices or in the administration of programs and services, including on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. Okay. You interpret that however you want. Okay. But I will tell you, some churches will look at this and say, well, we obviously are not going to hire someone that goes against our faith or what we believe. Therefore, they cannot agree or will not click, I agree to this term, which is part of these terms of service. Okay. There are other churches who are a little bit more, I don't want to say libertarian, but a little bit more like the line of thinking that was told to me was, well, if we don't hire someone that goes against our religious beliefs, it's not going to be because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. It will be because of a different marker. Okay. And so they're not discriminating based on those things. They're discriminating based on maybe they didn't have the education, maybe they didn't have the background or the experience, right? There's something else that they'll point to and say, this is the reason, and they think that they can defend it, okay? This also goes from state to state. In some states, it's free, what do they call it? Free to work, free to hire. I can't remember what it's called now at the top of my head. Texas is one of those, okay? Free will state, I think it's that where you can hire and fire someone for any reason whatsoever, all right? I've been told that pastors believe and even had legal consultation that if you're in a state like that, at will, that's what it was, at will state, then this term is basically non-enforceable, okay? Other states, it's very difficult because they really drop the hammer. They really regulate hiring and firing practices. And those churches are a little more hesitant in agreeing to this term, okay? So even if you get on a call with me and you say, Justin, here's $1 million. Now tell us to check this box so we can get this free Google money. I'm not going to tell you to check that box. That box has to be checked and has to be agreed upon between you, your leadership, whoever your administration is. It's obviously between you and God. Since you're the pastor, you're accountable to your flock and your congregation. You're also accountable to the business of the church oftentimes, okay? So I cannot say just hit agree and you'll be fine. I can also not say don't agree to that because you'll never, it doesn't work. Okay. This has to be a decision that you make. All we can do is point to it. And before we give you an invoice, we say, make sure that you know and understand this. Okay. So those are the qualifications. Okay. You have to be a 501c3. You have to have documentation and you have to agree to the agreement. Okay. If you have and by the way, guys, if you have a question about the agreement, Facebook groups are not the place to discuss that. Someone asks about the agreement a lot, almost every week in the Facebook groups for church communications, church leadership. And you're going to get 1,000 different answers between how dare you, you're a sinner going to hell, to who cares, right? Just click agree and get the free money, okay? That you're going to get no help there, okay? This really has to be a decision between you and your leadership, okay? So if you qualify, okay, again, 501c3, you're okay with the agreement, you got documentation, you just go to google.com/nonprofits, or like I said, I just Google for nonprofits, and you follow the instructions. Okay. It'll give you a nice landing page and you say, sign in. Okay. And you're going to follow the instructions, to tell them your organization, what your primary email is, and, who you are as the representative of your organization. Okay. Now, what Google does is they do verify your nonprofit status. So you're going to get to a point in the application process that says, do you have a TechSoup authorization token? Okay. All that is TechSoup is a company that they do a bunch of stuff. And one of the things they do is they verify and validate your nonprofit status for Google and other platforms. So you get to this point, and a lot of people get scared and say, well, I don't have that, so I can't get this. No. As part of the, if you've never done anything with this before, as part of the Google for Nonprofits program, when you apply, you can say, I don't have this, and Google will automatically start that process for you. And you don't even have to go to the website TechSoup or know what that token is. It's nice to know. In fact, you probably should write it down somewhere or have it somewhere, so to speak. But they will do that. Thank you, Jesse, validation token. They will do that as part of the process. So just say, I don't have it. Google's going to be like, all right, we'll pass your information to TechSoup. TechSoup's going to validate you. They'll most likely ask for that documentation and any other missing information. And once they validate it, they'll just send that validation right over to Google, and Google will pick up where it left off. You never have to go sign up for an account, set up something else or whatever. Just, follow Google's steps. Say you don't have TechSoup validation, and then they'll do all that stuff. Just follow the instructions of the emails that they send you, okay? The other thing that I've seen a lot of people stumble upon in this process is, for whatever reason, they use an email they don't have access to. Whenever you apply for stuff like this, don't use emails you never check or don't have access to, okay? When it asks for your email, your organization's, I know, and maybe this is it. They ask for your organization email, and we just put inbox@mychurch.com or hello info@mychurch.com. And it's not a real email address. It just seems formal, or no one checks it, or no one has access to it. Don't do that, because that's where all your information is going to go to. And if you can't get into that email account, you can't get into your Google Grant. Okay. So don't use an email that you never check or don't have access to. Even if it's your organizational email address is just a Gmail account, it's not recommended. You just need something that you can get access to. Okay. It's not really going to be publicly listed, not until later when you verify your ad account. Okay. So that's the overall. I know I threw a lot at you and it was a very high level. Okay. People hire, Jesse's in the chat still. People hire us because we do all this for you. It is a lot of steps to go through and you do have to be very particular about it. But if you're comfortable with it and you're okay, like taking some time to read all this documentation, make sure you agree to everything. This is something that you can knock out in about 15 to 20 minutes and you never have to do it again. Okay. Now, once you get approved, you'll get an email and it says, congratulations, complete your approval here. You click on that blue link. It's a blue button. You click on that. And again, it goes to that email that you put as your organization email. So you got to make sure that that's working. Go to that, finish the instructions, and then you're basically approved for Google for Nonprofits, which is a whole big program. It comes with a few different things. You just need to go into Google Ad Grants, and then you click on Apply Here. And there's another set of things you have to go through. Again, just follow the instructions. They make you watch a video. Just watch the video and answer the questions. It's an open book quiz. You can see the question and go back and find the answer in the video. But you do have to do that. And then usually within 48 to 72 hours, in my experience, you'll be approved. Okay. Now, like I said, this is a lengthy process. Our SOP for this is way too long in my opinion, but there's a lot of things you got to check the box. Okay. Just follow the instructions. If you have any questions, Google has a lot of documents. If you want us to claim it for you, we can help you claim that. You can just email me, hello@navachurchmarketing.com. But that's what you have to do. You have to qualify and then you have to apply. That's how you get the Google Grant, so you can get free money for your church to spend on advertising. And by the way, guys, I should have said this way earlier because I still get people calling me about this. This is not a $10,000 check that your church can use for whatever you want. This is specifically for Google ads, and more specifically Google search ads. Okay. So don't think you're going to go through all this and get a $10,000 check every month in the mail or direct deposit. No, this just sits in the Google account and it spends that money instead of your money. Okay. Once you get access, it'll ask you a few questions about the organization and then you can go through and set up your first ad. A lot of people get confused as well because it doesn't ask for your billing information. That's okay. It just knows to start spending the grant money. Again, this process is very confusing if you've never done it before. I'm giving you a 30,000 foot view. So when you hear this, you're like, oh man, why is this saying they never asked me for my billing information? It's okay. You don't have to put any in there. It's going to spend the grant money. So there you go. Yeah. Jesse says it's like a gift certificate to the ad store. It's only spendable there. You can't take it to Home Depot and buy mission trip materials, right? No, you gotta stays in your account and it spends it there. But again, if you can spend it, it's there for you to spend. So that's what I want to get into next is our three. Actually, I wrote 4 here. Our 4 favorite proven Google Grant ads. These are the ads that we prefer to run. We always start with 3 unique ads for our clients. I'm going to share with you the 3 that we use plus one bonus one that has been doing really well lately. And maybe Jesse, if he's still watching, he'll share some of his ideas, some of the things that he does in the chat so we can just make this the most valuable for anyone watching this. So number 1 is you have to know the requirements. Before I go into the actual ads, you have to know that there are requirements to get these ads to run. You can set up an ad as soon as you get your Google Grant, set up the ad account, even verify it if you want. You can set up an ad, but if you don't set it up the proper way, the way Google Grant wants you to, the ad will turn on and it'll say the ad's learning, the ad's running, it's on, but it will not spend any money and it won't show up in people's results and it won't tell you what's wrong. Okay. It's the most frustrating thing ever. Okay. If you miss just one, that's why I said our SOP is way too long. Because if you just miss one little checkpoint, it's not going to use the grant. It's not going to run the ad and you're going to tear more hair out than you already are just in your regular pastor job. Okay. So know the requirements. You can just go to Google Grant ad requirements. In fact, let me do that right now. I don't have it written in my notes to do this, but I will read this off for you real quick. Because I don't know them all off the top of my head. Google Ad Grant campaign. This is riveting, right? riveting words here, but I want to make sure. Okay. So when you get in there, okay, number one, you're going to target keywords. This is what people search into Google to find what they want. Okay. So for example, church near me, that's a keyword or a key phrase. Okay. You can't use single word keywords. So you can't say, hey, show this ad to people searching for church. Okay. Not going to work. Can't be overly generic either. Okay. Church near me is about as generic as you can get. Low quality keywords that no one's searching for. Okay. This is a bad example because I don't have the data on this, but, if you say, hey, we want to show ads to non-denominational churches with male pastors, okay, people aren't searching for that. It's going to be a low quality score, or it's going to be completely irrelevant. They're not going to like that, so you can't do that. You have to maintain a 5% click-through rate each month, which means basically people are clicking through to your ads. We haven't had a problem hitting that number, but if you are seeing your account gets temporarily deactivated, it could be because not enough people were clicking through. The way you do that is, of course, you make a compelling ad. You make it valuable. You make it relative. Okay. If you create an ad for your church and you say, hey, go target people that are searching for, wood shops, and you say, show our church there, they're not going to click through, right? That's a terrible example, but you got to make it relative, and you got to make sure that people will want to click on it. Okay. You got to track your conversions, meaning you got to set up, how do you know where people clicked, so that way you know that the ad is working. They took an action that you wanted them to take. Fill out a plan of visit, fill out a web chat, visit a certain page even. All right. And then when you actually set up the ad, you got to have 2 ads, 2 ad groups. You got to have 2 site link extensions. There's a survey that you got to do. I don't even know about the survey, but it says must respond to program survey. So apparently we do it. So you got to basically just work in groups of 2. Okay. So just make 2. I know we make 2 campaigns. Each campaign is 2 ad groups. 2 ad groups has 2 ads. Again, if you never run ads, you're going to do some research on this. Okay. And if this sounds like a headache, you can understand why me and Jesse do this for churches, because it is a headache. And I'd rather you be in front of people than stuck behind a computer screen. Okay. So you have to follow those requirements. So if you just search Google Ad Grants compliance guide, that'll take you there. All right. I can start to see why no one really walks through this process, because it's so boring. It's almost impossible to walk someone through. But listen to this while you're doing it, maybe, and that'll help you. Okay, so let me get to the actual Google grant ads that we like to run. Okay, you have to know the requirements. Now let's go to the actual grants. Okay, now every church wants to do this, so we do it first right off the bat. When people are searching for a church, we call it warm traffic, meaning they already know what they're looking for. You just need to be present when they're looking for it. Okay, so you run an advertisement targeting the keywords church near me, churches near me, churches in your city, church in your city, Baptist church, non-denominational church, faith-based church, whatever keywords people are searching for. You basically say, hey, Google, whenever someone searches for this, I want our website to show up. Okay. Very simple. Church near me. I think it's self-explanatory, but that's obviously the one you want. Okay. We call that warm traffic, or could even be hot traffic, because they know what they want. They're searching for something. We don't have to sell them on the idea of church. They already know they want a church. So show them a church that they'll want to go to. Okay. Now, when you write an ad, you're going to get a headline and you're going to get a description. Now, this is going to be unique for your church. Okay. You write unique sermons. You create unique worship sets. There are no Sunday school teachers like your Sunday school teachers, right? God has uniquely equipped you to uniquely reach a unique group of people. Therefore, you should have a unique headline that reflects your church and accurately represents who your church is. Okay. So don't just say welcome home. Services Sunday at 10:30. Okay. No one's walking around saying, oh, I need a church that meets at 10:30. Okay. No. Okay. What is it about people that you or Jesus through you, how you can help them, how you can serve them? Okay. That should be considered when you write your headline and your description. Now, the great thing about Google is you can give them multiple ideas and they'll run with the best one. Okay. So you could do services in Florida City, starting at 10 a.m. Okay. You could do a watch live, right? I have one client, more people are clicking when they search for churches near me, more people are clicking on their live stream than their actual, let's plan a visit in person. So every church is unique, but yeah, when people are searching for churches, you should be there. So that's the first campaign you want to set up. All right. The next one is kids resources. Okay. There's usually a lot of people searching for kids stuff, kids activities. Even in some places, I know there's one in Central Texas, Mother's Day Out, I think is what it's called. There are people that actually search for that, which I can't imagine people know what they want, but they want that. And the church has that program. So kids resources, their church shows up there. Okay. So you can target kids activities, summer kids activities, free kids camp for VBS, even kids discipline resources if you want, whatever that is. We'll get into resources later. But you can have your kids ministry webpage show up as a search result when people are searching for stuff for their kids. Okay. Again, you got to make it valuable and relatable. So don't put your main church website to show up when people are searching for kids activities. Okay. At the very least, make it your kids page, and it's got to be valuable. Okay. It can't just say, we love kids. We'd love to meet your kids. Daycare available, Sundays at 10:30. Like, that's not helpful. Okay. That doesn't give me anything. It just tells me about you. Okay. But instead, share with me the importance of my kids, that you understand the importance of raising them up to be good people, that it's hard being a parent. And this is one of the ways that we can raise up our kids in the way that we can go. And these are the opportunities you have to connect with us and our kids to help us parent and raise our kids, right? Be something valuable. Don't just blast information out there, okay? And not only that, give people something to do. So again, this is where your kid's webpage on your website may not be good enough to run a Google ad to, because you're just getting people to click through and read some information and, oh, well, who cares? Okay. You want them to do something. Give them a form to fill out, give them a resource, click here to download 10 things to do with your kids on a rainy day. Click here to download this article about, what does the Bible say about disciplining your kids? How far is too far? Whatever the resource is, get them to give you their information in exchange for a resource or in exchange of something, right? And that way you can actually start the relationship because of the Google ad. You don't want to just put the information out there. You want to inspire people to connect with you. And that's what this is all about. The third ad that we like to run, and again, this is unique for every church. This is my favorite, and that's resources. Okay. Not just pointing to a resource page, but saying, you know what, we have this devotional, we have this prayer guide, we have this sermon series on one topic. It was a huge success, so to speak, and more people need to see this. Okay. So for example, let's say you're talking about love and marriage. All right. So when people are looking up marriage counseling, divorce counseling, which be careful with that, husband-wife activities, what does the Bible say about marriage? What does the Bible say about divorce? Whatever people in your area might be searching for, you can have that resource show up to people that are searching for that in your area. All right. Again, it has to be valuable. You can't just throw up your divorce care webpage and say, hey, with divorce care, we care. Wednesdays at 5:30. Like, that's not valuable. Okay. Share with me something that's going to relieve the pain that I'm feeling. Something is keeping me up at night when I'm searching for this. Therefore, provide me an answer to this. Provide me some, even if it's not the solution, right? Provide me a path to the solution. Okay. Other resources we've done, Pastor, you've probably written something. Okay. That can be turned into a little ebook or article. You can run an ad to target to that resource. Okay. And again, you got to be a little bit creative. Look at how God's equipped you, but you can run ad to those resources and make it valuable. Don't just run to your church website. It will not work as well as you think it is. Okay. The last one is any ministry projects you have. If you have a free clinic, if you have a food pantry, again, school supplies, events that you have like block parties and stuff. Those are a little bit harder because you just kind of target events in my town. But you can get away with that as long as you have a dedicated page to send people to. Okay. Don't just say, hey, we got a block party coming up in 2 weeks. Click here to learn more. And it just takes me to the front page of your website. Take me to an event page. Take me to a ministry page. Take me to a sign up page. Take me to do something that's valuable and relatable to this actual campaign. Okay, so those are just a few of the ones that we do. Now there are some more unique ones that we can do for churches that we've done for churches, but for most churches, one of these four are going to work, or three of these four, or all four of them are going to work. Once you launch the campaign, you just keep an eye on it. What clicks are people clicking through it? Are enough people searching for it so you can show up? Is it spending the money? If it's not spending the money, you probably didn't set up the ad right. And again, like Jesse said, it's a lot of work, but Jesse in the chat said it's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it because this is how you be known. So you're not just a church, but you're the church that provides help when marriages are on shifting sands. Okay, you're the church to help when people need benevolence. You're the church to help when I can't figure out these darn kids. I wasn't ready for this. Okay, you could even be the church to help with crisis pregnancy resources if your church is equipped to do that. Right. So that's, those are our favorite Google Grant ads. And listen, when we've heard this several times, when we run these ads, okay, we launch these ads, starting from the church near me ad, but even going into the resources, the kids ministry, whatever ads we run, constantly we're hearing, what did you do? The faucet is turned on. We're seeing new people every week. Okay. Seeing new faces every week, seeing new people every week. We're getting more guests than ever, right? This is why this is the start of what we call the momentum multiplier, because if you just have a pretty website, all you're going to do is get people who are already looking for a church. If you just have a pretty brand, a pretty logo, all you're going to do is get superficial people who are just looking for the coolest new thing. They're going to come and go. They're church shoppers, okay? But when you actually create something like this advertisement, to speak to people where they are and introduce Jesus and your church as the path to their relief, to abundant life, to everlasting life, to fill that gap that they've been trying to fill with other worldly solutions, right? That's when you create a presence that says, I don't know what that is, but I need to go to there. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And this is where you get people coming to you, because you're not just a church saying, look at me, come to our service, but you're a church saying, we care about your kids. We care about your life. We care about your well-being. We care about your marriage. We care about the food in your pantry. We care whether or not you even have Thanksgiving dinner, right? You want to be the church that cares about the community and wants to impact the community. And if you just say, look at us, come to us on Sunday, guess what? That's all people are going to think about you. All right. So if you want to see new faces every week, the Google Grant is going to do that and give you that free ad spend. Now, when you're running the ad to your church page, okay, you can do a landing page for your church, but you can also do it basically to your church website. And for that, I want to encourage you to go to navachurchwebsite.com. And with that, we're going to give you the framework for our church website homepage. So at the very least, when you launch that first ad, if you don't have a specific Sunday landing page, you can run it to your homepage knowing that people will take an action, because the framework that I give you at navachurchwebsite.com is the same framework we use to get more people clicking through, web chatting, engaging, downloading resources that allow us to follow up with them and to pray with them, to personally invite them, get coffee with the pastor, and relationships are started. Can you imagine not just having a website that just gets people to know about your church, but a website that actually introduces people to you so you can share Jesus with them? This is what this is all about. I don't want to just blast the name of your church out there. I want people to connect with you and to start relationships so they can be discipled so we can grow the kingdom. Before I go, Jesse had an idea on each landing page, offer to pray for people and include a form or a link to a form. You can collect their email and use automation to follow up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Give them something to do. Use this as a way to build a relationship, open up a relationship. Okay. If you see a pretty girl at college, you don't say, hey, good to meet you. I'm Justin, or whatever your name is. Bye. Right? No, you ask for their number, or I don't know, whatever kids do now. What's your ex username? I don't know. What's your Snapchat? I think they still say that, right? You want to get some information so you can follow up with them. Your website is the same. Okay. You can use that to start that relationship and build a relationship with them. So you're not just seeing new faces you've never seen before, but instead they come to church and you're like, that's Bill. I've been talking to Bill for the last 2 weeks. And he's finally showing up. Now I get to introduce myself to him instead of saying, hey, are you new here? What can I do for you? You already know, because you've prayed for them. You've maybe had coffee with them, shared a phone call with them. This is the power of modern day church marketing, not just to get people aware of your church, but to get people connected and understanding this is why you exist, and this is why they should care about your church. If you like this show, wherever you are, like and subscribe to it. We'll be doing these every week. We are, this was part 7 of the Definitive Church Marketing Method. We still got 2 parts, and then we're going to go into some fun details, some really cool ideas for your church to reach more people, connect with them so we can grow the kingdom by sharing the gospel with them. So like and subscribe wherever you are. God bless you guys, and I will see you next week.
That's going to do it for today's episode of the Best Known Church Show with Justin Nava. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news, strategies, and resources that you need to reach 10x more people and become the best known in your community. To send us a message or leave a voicemail for Justin to be played on a future show, visit thebestknownchurchshow.com. And if you'd like to work with us so you can focus on your ministry, give us a call at 832-861-7654. Until next time, stay outrageous, unreasonable, and relentless.